Hey there, story fellows. Hopefully bugs didn't catch you yet. And if they did, you're not alone. I have a crazier story time for today, in my opinion top 10 that happened that year. So let's get straight into it. So at the time I was 14, and as I have mentioned in some of my previous story times, my dad bought bikes when I was at that age. Some crazier shit happened later on, but this is the beginning of all the crazy stories that happened. So my dad had bought his first motorcycle after many years. He used to ride them when he was younger and decided to give them a chance now, because why not, ride or die, right? Anyways, my dad taught me how to drive them soon after he bought them, but I didn't really understand how they worked and neither how they were handled. Southwest, this all takes place in the county, where my grandpa used to live. He had this huge yard with grass, and every now and then me and my dad used to go there to decorate the bushes and cut the grass in the yard. And at the time he was keeping the brand new bought motorcycle in my grandpa's garage. So he tells me to cut the grass and leaves to do some other stuff. So I start cutting it. It gets boring as hell, you know how it be. So your boy decides that the best thing to kill the boredom would be to drive the bike around the yard, as my dad wasn't coming back anytime soon. So I go get that bad boy out of the garage, hop on it, turn on the engine, getting all hyped up, and then just completely staled the engine. Damn, okay, another try I taught. Once again, I put it in neutral, pressed the button to turn on the engine, put it in first gear, slowly released the clutch, and I moved. Man, at that moment I thought, yeah, I made it, I made the bike move, hell yeah. So I slowly but gradually was learning how to ride it. The thing I forgot to mention is that it rained previously and the grass in the yard was kind of wet. The whole place wasn't flooded, you know, but parts of the yard grass was wet. So as I get more and more swag on that thing, I decided to pull it a little more, so I full on just pull the throttle, go a little faster and stop, turned around and thought to myself, hey, this is easy, I want to pull a stunt with it. So I rev the engine, let go off the clutch, get it over the first gear, second, and I wanted to do a slide, like pull the back brakes and power steer it or however it's called. So I pull on the brakes, the bike starts to turn and I feel that the back tire just drives over something and goes flying in the air. Man, as I'm describing the scenario, I felt that the whole thing was in slow motion, I swear to God. And soon after, no secret, the bike flipped and I somehow went under it. So the engine crushed my leg. I had to somehow get this huge thing off me, because it wasn't one of these little bikes, no, it was like 180 kilos or almost 400 pounds. I scream for help as I'm trying to push the thing off me, but nobody was there, nobody heard me. So finally I push the damn thing off my leg, somehow stand up with my other one, because I was holding one in air, and I somehow managed to pick up the bike from the ground and get it to stand. I push it back into garage as nothing happened there. Even the spot where I fell, the grass was all shattered and you could clearly see that something had happened there. So I go sit down, still in pain of course, with an adrenaline rush flowing through my blood. And my dad comes back after 15 minutes to a sight of me just sitting there, waving to him. And he immediately noticed that something ain't right. He points to my leg and says, "What the fuck happened here?" I just looked down and noticed that the part of my jeans were missing, so I also ripped my clothes off. So I have no other choice as to tell him what happened there. He called me dumb and drove me to the hospital. Now some way, a miracle happened, and when I've done the x-ray it showed that my leg is not broken, I just had a concussion and that's all. My leg hurt for at least a week or two, but in the end my leg turned out to be just fine. I've learned my lesson to not learn without a teacher, I guess. The moral of this story would be, do not take your dad's bikes and go learning by yourself and end up almost breaking your legs in the bikes. I forgot to mention that the bike looked as new, just some grass went in the section of the engine, but besides that everything turned out just fine. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this story time, be sure to leave thumbs up and follow me, I highly appreciate you guys. Stay lit, story fellows.